All right, top 3 comments of the week. I just wanted to preface this really quickly that I might not be able to do it every single week, but I'll try and do it at least 2, hopefully 3 weeks out of every month. So yeah, you're going to see this a lot. Don't forget to comment on them. Don't forget to comment on all my other videos to get a chance at being shown in this and get a really detailed explanation into any questions or anything else you have to say. Really excited to share this with you. As always, the number 1 winner on this one is going to win a free 1-month subscription to my paid newsletter. Link is in the description. You guys know the drill. All right, let's get into the first comment. This comes from Gaith Tuilat. All right, I probably stuffed that up. Sorry. Yo, do they actually name the alluvial Scoriox after you, or is it just a coincidence? This is actually a really fun story. That's why I picked this one, because I explain this story to people very, very often. I don't want to... I think I should say it on the channel. Simply put, I wanted to make a YouTube channel surrounding Illuvium. I was really excited about that. My username in the past has been usually based on kind of like angels and devils and that sort of thing. Right, and I went to Aaron and I said, do you have any name you would suggest for me for my YouTube channel along these lines? And he said, what about Scoriox? It's a serpent. It's pretty cool. I said, yep, done. And my name is Scoriox, and here we are. So yeah, that just about sums it up. All right. The next one's really, really interesting, and the last one's going to be the winner, of course. So this one comes from DDS316. Hi, Scoriox. My question for you is about the safety of staking Illuvium. With the fall of staking giants like Celsius and companies like Voyager filing for bankruptcy, Celsius actually just declared bankruptcy too, is it still safe to stake ILV rather than keeping it in cold storage? I have no idea how these liquidity pools like SushiSwap are different from other staking programs like Celsius. Now, if you guys want to see a really full-on breakdown video on kind of staking as a whole, please leave a comment down below because it's a really interesting topic. So I'm going to keep it a little bit brief for this, but bear with me. So staking is a term that has been bastardized very early on. Okay, staking was initially called that because it was a proof of stake mechanism used for, I think, the Ethereum ecosystem. I think things like Hex also use it and stuff. Basically, you're collateralizing your tokens, in this case Ethereum, for the ability to vote in governance and all that sort of stuff on the Ethereum blockchain and to validate Ethereum transactions. Essentially, it's a form of security. So people have collateralized their Ethereum. They earn from the fees. Basically, they collateralized it so that they can prove security for the network, which is different from proof of work, where you need to actually use electricity and mining power to prove Bitcoin transactions, right? So Celsius and Voyager aren't traditional staking platforms, and neither is Illuvium. But Illuvium's probably a lot closer to the safe side than Voyager or Celsius ever were. They were more like a lending platform. You put your tokens inside their platform, and they held custody for you. That's a big difference already there. They held custody of your tokens, and then they said, oh, if you give it to us, we'll give you 20% every year. And that's just what we're going to do. But how they got that 20% isn't defined. In the rules of staking, if that's not defined, then that is what I would call unsafe. All right? If they're taking your tokens from you and then they're promising you something and you have no proof that they can do that, that is unsafe. In the case of Celsius and Voyager, there was a lot of stuff. I won't really go into the details of it, but for the most part, when Bitcoin crashed, just the value of their storages kind of crashed with it. Then they had no way to pay out everyone if everyone wanted to unlock at the same time. A little bit like a pyramid scheme. I don't think it's quite like that, but it was extremely dangerous. Whereas in Illuvium's case, the staking protocol is very simple. They have 3 million tokens that they're distributing over 3 years on a curve, so 1.5 million in the first year and so on. And everyone that's staking in that gets a portion of that 3 million token. That's really it. That's all the rules for Illuvium. You've got RevDiz and stuff, but that doesn't really apply to the tokens you're locking up, so to speak. But basically, that's what it is. No one's holding your tokens. They're locked up in the protocol, but the smart contract's taking care of that. No one can just go and like switch it all off or something like that. And yeah, basically there's a limited supply, a limited amount being distributed, and so on and so forth. The only issues you really have is that there's no liquidity. So if there was liquidity being provided by a DAO, in this case it is provided by the community, which is a beautiful part of the ETH ILV pool. But if a DAO is providing liquidity, they could pull the liquidity and be impossible for you to sell your tokens without someone else providing liquidity. So there are those sorts of issues, but we're not really running into that scenario here. But that's kind of, I know it's a much deeper conversation to be had, but that's kind of the basics of it. Cold storage is obviously safer. ETH ILV pool is really interesting because as the prices differ, it actually balances it out. For example, if you have half an Ethereum and half an ILV, if the ILV price goes down, some of your Ethereum will actually be taken to buy the ILV, or the other way around. I think it's that way around, but you get the idea. So they actually hedge each other a lot. So if you're holding just ILV and it goes down 50%, you lose 50%. If you're holding both and only ILV goes down 50%, there's a bunch of swaps that are going to happen. You're really only going to lose 25% of your value because some of it's going to go into ETH and things like that. So it's actually a really interesting way for people to try and maintain their store of value. But large swings in price can also impact it as well. So it's got a lot of risk involved, but the staking platform itself is very different to the way Celsius or Voyager work. Sorry, that was such a long explanation. All right, this next one isn't too long. Okay. This comes from Ramza Illuvium. All right, I love this guy. He was in my 24-hour stream for a long time. He's an awesome guy in the community. He's also a part of the Illuvium team, which is one of the reasons I pulled up this comment. And it's my favorite one here because it's some serious alpha. He says, "Are you sure it's just after battle?" So this is referring to the video I made where I discussed the shards capturing mechanics and the trapping of the Illuvials and things like that. Are you sure they're only trapped after battle? Maybe we can use an item to trap for a certain amount of seconds at the start of combat. Now, there's a lot of theories I have on this, and if you guys want a full detailed video on this particular theory I have in my head, then please leave a comment down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe so more people can see this too and get lots of comments down below. But, the idea brings me back to Monster Hunter. Aaron wants this to eventually turn into a Monster Hunter game, and that is the first thing I thought of when I saw those Illuvials being trapped. In Monster Hunter, you can capture a monster or kill a monster, and they give you different rewards and so on and so forth. I believe that's going to become involved here. What Ramza is suggesting, and I have good reason to believe he's probably telling something, some interesting alpha here, is that items just cause them to be trapped. And maybe you need them to be trapped at the end of battle to get a chance at capturing them. Or maybe you can trap them at the start of battle just so you can guarantee winning the battle a bit easier. So they're just another item, just another tool in your arsenal you can use when you're going into combat. Maybe it's used in PvP too, we don't know. But this leaves a lot to think about. I'm really excited to see where that goes, but maybe you have to trap them at the start, and then you have to kill everything else before that thing breaks out of the trap for a chance to capture it. I don't know, there's so many possibilities. I can't wait to see what happens. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Top 3 comments of the week. Let's get around it. Come on, guys.